Hey, what is up? My name is Chris, and welcome to Coding in Public. Today we're continuing our series on Reveal.js, this HTML presentation framework, and this is the third video. If you haven't watched the first two, I'll leave links in the description. But in the first video, I showed you how to get it set up and running. In the last video, I showed you some basic markup and config options. In this video, I'm going to show you how to use the built-in plugins to access some custom plugins to create your own, and then also some basic theming. All right, so let's jump right in. I mentioned last time they've got really good documentation here, so it's pretty easy to follow. But if I come down here to plugins, we're going to start there today. And all plugins need to have two things. You have to first include the script in the document, and then secondly, you need to tell Reveal.js about the plugin by adding it when you're initializing it. All right, so you'll see in this default installation that it already includes several plugins. If you come down here, you'll see there's a Notes, Markdown, and a Highlight plugin. And then notice that they've also, in the initializer, when they've initialized this, they've added the names of each of those here as well. So here's how you actually would use plugins. Let's look at these default plugins first. Then I'll show you some third-party plugins and reference how you would create your own. So you can come down here. Let's first of all look at the speaker notes. So let's open this up. And you'll see all you do with these speaker notes is you add them as an aside. So if I come back up here, let's go to slide 3. I add these as an aside and I save it. And because that plugin is already live and running, they tell you up here, you press S on your keyboard to open the notes window. So if I come back over this way and I press S, it should open a speaker view, and there are my private notes. And I can move along here as well. It has a timer, so that's a pretty cool little feature. You can actually show the notes permanently whenever you have this open. That's one of those config options I showed you last time. All right, so let's come in here. We've looked at the notes. Let's look now at the Markdown. These are just the default built-in plugins. For Markdown, if you're more comfortable writing in Markdown, all you have to do is actually add it just like this. And let me jump back over this way. And now if I move over, you see slide 1 with a link. That's that right there. Slide 2 and slide 3. So that's really nice if you're more comfortable with Markdown, or if you just, it's way quicker for you because you can just quickly write in essentially plain text. Okay, so those are two of those default ones. You can also look at this highlight one. I won't show you this just for sake of time, but basically you add a pre tag and a code tag, and then you add your code in the middle. If you have HTML, you have to make sure you add this data attribute so it won't escape the HTML by default. So anyhow, there's some theming options here as well, ways to add numbers and highlights, and they give really clear examples here all the way through. So I'll leave you to that built-in plugin yourself. Okay, so that's some of the default built-in plugins. This is how you first add the script, and then you have to add it when you initialize it. There's also a bunch of third-party plugins. Let me open this up here for you. There's a lot of stuff in here. I haven't looked at everything, but as I just kind of thumbed through it, there's some things that caught my eye, so I'll point those out to you really briefly here. If you come down here, there is a CSS snippet one. Let's open this up, and this is cool. I'll just go ahead and show you the code pen so you don't have to load it up, but you can add it with an NPM script, and then people can come in here and they can like say color red, and it actually changes the slide live, which is kind of cool. All right, so that's one thing you might want to do. Let's see, there was another one I was going to show you. This one right here, copy code. It allows you to copy it. So if you have code in your slide deck, so let's say you're giving some kind of presentation, you can add a little copy button that when you copy it, it just says copied. All right, so that's another cool little plugin. That's an external plugin. There's a bunch of these that you can look at, and in fact, you can make your own. Now, I'm not going to show you how to do that step by step because they do a pretty good job here showing you step by step how to register a plugin and everything else. In fact, if you want a tutorial from the author that's a video tutorial, there is a course you can purchase here, this video course, in which he goes over that kind of in depth. All right, so that's the basics of plugins. Let's look at the very basics of themes. So if you come into here, there's some basic themes that come with Reveal.js whenever you install it. And up top here, you'll notice that this black theme is the one that's installed now. But there's a bunch of other options, white, league, beige. So let's go ahead and just grab a bunch of these. And this is a clipboard manager I use. I did a video on it if you're interested, but just so I can clip these and then use them in order while looking at the actual slide deck. Let's do it this way. Let me move this over so you can see. All I'm going to do is copy these one by one and save it, and then you can see what these look like. So that's the white one. Here's the league one. Here's the sky one. You don't need to see me read out or hear me read out the names each time, but solarized. So there's a bunch of really cool built-in themes that give some nice styling and colors and stuff like that as well. If you jump over this way, you'll see that you can create your own theme. They show you how to do that. You can also work off of these customized or these exposed variables. So these are just CSS variables that you can use when you're writing your own plugins. You could actually overwrite them as well in your own custom CSS. Now, next time I am going to show you how to add custom styling and to add transitions between slides. So if you want to see that, make sure you subscribe, like this video, and I hope to catch you next time. Thanks for watching. Happy coding.